Hey y'all, hey, it's another episode of Bonafide, her podcast featuring the one and only Deb Whitcas.
Hi. You're so cute. Love it.
Thank you. How you doing, girl?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
Of course, we blessed to be alive, I love,
Right.
I love to see women in sports to just podcasting about football, and it's amazing. So, but let's get it started. So, Miss
That's the right
Deb, can you
girl.
tell us? I know that's right. So, Miss Deb, can you tell us like your sports journey and how you got to where you are?
Sure. So actually, I didn't actually start out in sports. I started out in more non-scripted reality television. First started my journey. I went to school for TV. I've been in television since I was 12 years old. So I started in like a dance. I always performed. I always did theater. So I started TV. I was on a show called Dance Party USA. Also a show for MTV called The Grind. I was one of the on-camera dancers then. And then that kind of catapulted me into a behind-the-scenes production in reality TV and unscripted. Started out at the Jerry Springer Show, and then kind of, now I've worked in probably over 40 different shows. Currently co-executive producing for Crime Expose with Nancy O'Dell, as well as I Crime with Elizabeth Vargas. They're both syndicated shows, Monday through Friday. And so I still do some reality TV, but I love sports too. I was always a huge sports fan. My dad actually played for the minors for the Phillies, so I kind of grew up in a stadium. So a couple of years ago, I just kind of got a little bit burnt out of reality TV, and I thought, what else can I do? And I was like, what else do I love? And it was sports, and pretty much in football, NFL football, pretty much, and MLB. I'm a big baseball girl too. And so yeah, I was like, let me try to like start just kind of transitioning or pivoting from non-scripted TV to sports. And 5 years later now, I've done that and, made a name. Still working on it though, still every day's I'm going for it. So I'm now, looking forward to covering my 6th Super Bowl coming up soon in February. So yeah, I just kind of made that pivot. I decided one day to just make that pivot. Literally did some research and said, how do I become a sports reporter? And then just kind of went for it. So that's my story in a nutshell.
I would never guess like reality TV shows, like it's especially like Jerry Springer, rest in peace too, because it's just to see that like the repeating episodes on YouTube to me is like super funny. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
But and then like you being
it was a wild time back then for sure.
And then you being an Eagles fan, like, like I stated earlier, like I was an Eagles fan when they had McNabb, Brian Westbrook, and
Yes.
So
I actually met Brian Westbrook last Super Bowl. He was behind me at a party or in line for a party. And I was waiting on getting my ticket to go in. And I heard him say his name. And I turned around and I was like, Brian. And I don't usually fangirl, but I fangirled. And I was like, Brian, can I take a picture? And he was like, sure. He was super nice. And then later on, there was some other. It was a Jaws party. So it was a very like Eagle centric party. And Brian was hanging out with a couple of my friends, and they had called my name. And then so Brian's like, "Wait, I just met you outside." So it was kind of funny. But yeah, and McNabb, I'm a huge McNabb fan too. I met him as well. I fangirled there too. I didn't recognize him at first. We were also at a party, and someone's like, "Deb, I'm pretty sure that's Donovan McNabb right there." And I was like, "Oh my god, it is." And so yeah, he was very nice. He took a picture with me too. I was like, "I normally don't fangirl. I'm a sports reporter. I swear." He laughed. But yeah, all the older, I wouldn't even say older. I mean, God, they're in their 40s. But like, but yeah, the back in the day, McNabb. I have a McNabb jersey too. I don't have it with me here in Philly, but I have it in LA.
So what, with you having your own podcast called The Blonde Blitz, first of all, what inspired you the name of it, and what also like inspired you to start the podcast about football, since it's very rare to see women speak about football in this day and age?
Yeah. I always dreamed about having a podcast with all women, and a football podcast about, having women host. And I always wanted to call it something like Beer Blitzes and or Babes Beer and Blitzes, or something of that regard. And Jason, Commissioner Cooper from that Sports Podcast Network, approached me about starting a podcast, and it was actually with Nikki Gist. She's a beat reporter for the Giants, and we were discussing what the name of the show would be, and I had brought up the Beer Blitzes and Babes name. I was like, I always kind of wanted to have something like that, and then it just kind of, Nikki and I were both blonde, and we talked about adding another B in there. And so we were like, how about Blonde Blitz? And it just kind of came to be. And then, so Nikki and I did the first season together, and then Nikki decided to take other projects. So I decided to keep doing the Blonde Blitz by myself. So this season's been, all by myself as the main host. And then I've also brought in different collaborators. Shay Holland, she's an HGTV designer. She works with a lot of different athletes. So we have a design segment about football, NFL as well. And then Alex White, she is a sports betting handicapper. She's a third generation. So she comes in and gives some sports betting advice. I always have an interview that I do every single show because I love interviewing. Then also Ben Troop, he's a former Titan Buccaneer. He comes on the show and we do game picks. And then I bring in also some, either former players or media people to do the hot takes. And we talk about, the games of the week and some of the hot topics that happened on the show. So that's how it kind of came about. That this Blonde Blitz is an hour, and actually just applied for Super Bowl to have our own table at Super Bowl. So at Media Row. So I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that's going to happen. So we'll see.
You better manifest and believe that is yours.
Right. Yep. I agree. So I looked today, I was like, it still says pending. I'm like, let's do it. So it would be fun. It would be great to have our own table for the Blonde Blitz at Media Row Super Bowl.
That's super awesome. So I definitely would love to hear your hot take about this. So with the candidates for MVP, which is I found out is Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Who's your MVP?
I mean, Saquon, come on. I mean, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, obviously both having stellar seasons. But Saquon Barkley, to have the career he had with the Giants, and then I still can't believe the Giants let him go. And I think it just goes to show you, when you're home and where you're supposed to be. And he obviously was supposed to be with the Eagles. And I mean, he's just having an insane season with the Eagles. And, the Eagles organization is obviously super happy to have him, and the Eagles fans are super happy to have him. And I feel like he's happy to be there too. And he's admired and respected, and, the organization is doing him right. So I think he should be MVP. I also think Jaden Daniels should get rookie MVP, rookie of the year.
Girl, when I tell you Jaden Daniels has helped my fantasy football.
Yes,
I'm literally the only girl on this fantasy football league right now, and I'm in the championship so far. I'm in the championship now, so
look at you. It's so funny. My fantasy, I was doing horrible in my fantasy. Everyone got hurt. I had Isaiah Pacheco. I had Cooper Kupp. I had Puka Nacua, which now Puka's back, but Puka was gone for the first beginning of the season. So everybody that I drafted got hurt. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I had to go on the wire and pick people, and everybody else, had everybody good, everybody good was picked. You know what I mean? They already were on teams. So I was like, so I definitely did not win my fantasy this year, but it is what it is, So
it's crazy because I forgot to tend to draft and pick them, but it's audio draft. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I got Justin Jefferson again. I was like, oh,
nice.
And then I got Jaden Daniels. I was like, okay. And I think I had Jacksonville's defense, and then Kansas City Chiefs defense, and then somebody traded a couple of players of mine, and they gave me Travis Kelce, which was a win for me. Aaron
How
Jones.
in the world did they get rid of Travis Kelce? Well, he wasn't doing hot in the beginning of the season, so he's starting to heat up again now. But okay, all right, that's weird. I can't believe somebody got rid of Travis Kelce. That's wild.
Supposedly they wanted to help me win, so I was like, gave me Travis Kelce, Aaron Jones, and Deshaun Watson, and then I was like, oh well, Deshaun's about to get hurt, so I'll just drop him, pick up another quarterback. And at the time, Jaden Daniels was on break, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna put Daniel Jones, and I was like, never mind. Why did I start? Why did I start Daniel Jones, and he's a backup now?
Yeah, definitely not the move. But
it's just like, it's just amazing to see how the NFL has, like, from your perspective, how has this season been so different from the previous seasons that you have watched over the years?
Wow. I mean, NFL's always been huge. I think now with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, their relationship, I feel like there's a lot more women. I feel like Taylor Swift has brought a whole other plethora of women into the sport, which I think is a little bit different than what I've seen in previous seasons. So yeah, I mean, I think over half of NFL fans are now women, which is amazing. And I think part of that is to do with Taylor. So I think it's great. I think it's great that Taylor's exposed, young girls and women, grown women. I mean, I have friends that are huge. I'm a fan of hers for sure, but like there's grown women who are huge fans of hers that are my friends, and they've been asking me questions about football, which I never thought in a million years they would be asking me questions about football, and they want to learn. And I'm like, if you guys want to go to a game, like I'll be more than happy to go a game with you and explain what's going on. You know what I mean? So like people, like these women want to know now and they want to learn because Taylor's doing it, so they want to do it too. So I think that's what's a little bit different this season than seasons in the past. Is I think that the NFL is having, like, there's more women involved, and women in sports in general is blowing up, and it's a great time to be a woman in sports. But finally, they're getting, women are getting the recognition that they deserve.
Girl, you better say louder for the band. It's a great.
Yes.
It's great to be a woman in sport. Like,
yes,
it's like
say
loud. It's like say it loud for the folks in the back. So
yes, it's a great time to be a woman in sports. Woo! Yes. And actually, and I'm not even. You know what? I probably shouldn't. I will. I'll come in closer to Super Bowl again, and I'll make this announcement. But I probably can't say anything. But I have something cooking. I was just asked to do something that's involved with women in sports at the Super Bowl. So I can't quite announce it yet, but I will. I can come on again and announce that in a little bit. But it'll be really exciting. So I'll talk about it on the Blonde Blitz for sure. We have our first meeting on Friday, so that I'll be joining. So,
well, big congrats to you in advance, girl. You better let them know.
Thank you.
So, of all the Super Bowls you have like been to and covered, what would you say is your favorite one?
You know what? I think I loved the Arizona Super Bowl. I thought it was fun. I mean, obviously, it was the Eagles too. So that, like they didn't win, but I was there, and I was like a dream come true to be interviewing AJ Brown and Brandon Graham and Jason Kelce. So that was super special to be able to like sit there and interview and be at the media availabilities for the Eagles. So that was great. Last year in Vegas was fun too. I'm a huge Vegas girl. I love Las Vegas. And so it was fun to be in Vegas. And, I think the Arizona Super Bowl was like the busiest I've been. Like I booked it solid to the fact I actually overbooked. So I had to turn some events down and I didn't make it to everything. So that was like a little disheartening that I couldn't be. You can't be everywhere all at once, because also too Arizona is very spread out with between Scottsdale and Phoenix, And so I remember the one time I was looking at like Google or something in my car, like the MapQuest or whatever. And I literally like drove for hours like in circles because we just had so many events, and the way like the route showed, we just drove for hours. So it was a lot of, the Arizona Super Bowl was a lot of work. Vegas was a little bit more condensed, but the players usually stay away from the stadium. Like they usually stay about a half hour away from where like the convention center is, or where the stadium is. So it's always a little bit of a drive to get out to like where they're staying, and that's where they stay is where the media availability is, and that's where you get to like interview them. So that's always a little bit like further out. So you kind of know that going into it. So, but
I wanted the Eagles to beat the Kansas City Chiefs so
I know.
badly because I like
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts because I just like the journey he has, like the fact that he went from being, at Alabama and then get hurt and then like try to get back, but then succeeded in Oklahoma and then doing so many great things for the Eagles. Like I really wanted him to win, and it was like, dang.
We all did. That darn penalty, man. It cost them the game. It did. But yeah, I'm hoping Jalen's going to play on Sunday. We'll see. I haven't heard anything, which is a little strange. I usually have some sources that will give me some peeps of what's going on, but I haven't heard anything. And it's Thursday. It might be because of Christmas, and everyone's been with their families and whatnot. So, and I've also been sick. You can hear it in my voice, but yeah, I haven't heard anything whether or not Jalen's playing or if Pickett's playing or who exactly is going to be the Eagles quarterback this Sunday. So, and they're playing Dallas, so we cannot lose to Dallas.
Yeah, just please beat Dallas. Anybody but Dallas. That's ABD for me. I call it ABD. Anybody but Dallas. Like
anybody but Dallas. Yes.
So
that's funny.
It's just like, but my question for you is, from your perspective, what's it like to see a lot of like, say, NFL players just speak out, like whether it's their beliefs or like in social justice wise, like what's it like to just see that, as a lot of them are very open about it?
But social justice?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great. You know what I mean? Like, I think that all the NFL players have this platform, and, to speak out on social justice issues. Yeah, I mean, it's good to see these guys using their NFL platform for good, and to help others, and to support. So yeah, I think it's great that they're able to do that.
Do you hope to see more of that, where they don't feel like they're going to be penalized or fined by, say, like the owners of the organization and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty. Yeah, I mean, they shouldn't be. That's for darn sure. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, as far as the owners, like I think if they speak out against the NFL, they're going to get penalized, and they know that. But if there's any issues, social justice or whatever it is, they shouldn't get penalized for that. If they're speaking their mind, like they're human too, so they have their thoughts and their own hypotheses and whatnot. So yeah, they definitely shouldn't be penalized for that.
And also, like, there was a while back, and just wanted your perspective on it. There was a while back where, like, I forgot her name, but it starts with a C, but she would talk about football, but then she admitted where, some of the things she would just made up about it. Like some of the things she says were just made up. I think it's Clarissa or Charissa.
Oh, Clarissa Thompson.
Yeah. So like
Clarissa,
as a woman of sport who's in the media, but also is a football person, how when that happened, like what was your perspective like, especially, being in the media, like what was your perspective about that whole situation? Like how did it affect you?
Sure. I mean, I feel like it got a little bit blown out of proportion. Clarissa Thompson's one of the top women in sports and in sports media. So definitely not going to speak out against her for sure. And I don't know Carissa. Excuse me. I don't know Carissa. I have friends who know her. She's very well liked. I think I unfortunately I wasn't part of it. So I don't know exactly what went on or what was said or what was, misconstrued. I think she did come back and say that she, like, at first it was like I don't even remember. I do remember like some ramblings about it, but I guess at first she had said something about like she not fudged the truth, but anyway, it came back and she like retracted a statement and had said like, I don't even remember it, a lot of it. But it didn't really bother me. Like, it just, you never know what's true and what's not true. And I like to talk to, the person themselves and get like the truth from their own mouth. So sometimes you can't always believe what the media says. So I really I heard about it, but it didn't impact me at all. So I didn't, I just didn't pay much mind to it, I guess.
It's understandable because it's like, it's already, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, at times it feels like it's so hard to be a woman in sports because some people they can't, it's like they feel like they can't take us seriously. Like we're just supposed to be like, sit there and look pretty, don't say nothing, whatever and stuff. And it's like,
right.
We have other hobbies too. We like sports too.
Yeah.
Or they just don't like it if we know about sports more than they do. And it's like,
right.
So
I think it's a little bit more tough on women. I know, fellow women in sports, we do a lot of research and we know our stuff because we feel like we have to. I feel like the guys, if they mess up, it's kind of like, oh, whatever. They like said a stat wrong or something. But if like a woman says a stat wrong, like she's crucified. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Like when we really do, we sometimes know what we're talking about more so even more than the men do. But yeah, I mean, I think there, as more and more women are in sports are, coming forward. And I think, like yesterday at Christmas, Kay Adams and Mina Kimes did a great job on Netflix, I felt like. And so there's a lot of women out there that are really good and really study and do their research and know their stats and know football really well. And like, those are the ones who are coming to the forefront. So yeah. There was one time I made a mistake on something. I forget what it was, but I like got yelled at and they were like, how do you not know that? Because you're a woman in sports. And I was like, what? I was like, I made a mistake. I forgot. Like, I guess I said that a player didn't play for a team. I was like, he never played there. And he did for like a month or something. You know what I mean? And they were like, and just because I said that, like, it was like, he was trying to like completely make fun of me and was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I was like, no, I actually really do. But it was just, God, and then like a bunch of my guy friends actually took my back and they're like, you don't know Deb, like she knows her stuff. And so it was super cool that my guy friends like came and were like, stop, like she made a mistake, chill out, so.
who would be some of the, like, say, guests that you would love on your podcast, whether it's players, coaches, or anybody that you look up to? Who would be like say a top 5 people that you would love as a guest on your podcast?
I mean, obviously any of the Eagles, former, current. I would love to have, McNabb, Randall Cunningham, like I said, Westbrook, Jason Kelsey, I love. He's a little hard to get right now. He's so busy. God, to be honest, I'm blessed to have anybody, you know what I mean, come on and talk football and former, coaches or former players. Always blessed to have anyone involved in the NFL or any of the pro leagues, on my show. So, yeah.
That would be cool, especially have Saquon Barkley on there too.
Oh yeah, you kidding? Yeah, it'd be amazing. So. We'll get there. We're getting there.
It's there. It's there. We just speak out. Just like it's like
manifest it. Saquon Barkley coming on the Blonde Blitz. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's win a Super Bowl first. Then you can come on and talk about it.
Like get that ring first.
Right.
So my question for you is, and you mentioned that, you know, the football players are human first. And I wish people would understand that they are human first. How important is mental health to, like, say from your perspective, how important is mental health?
It's so important. And thank you for asking this question, because it's you know, life is tough. Just, you know, just life in general every day. And then you add on, you know, the professional, being in the public eye, you know, that's hard as well. So yeah, you need to take a break. You need to, like, do you, in general, like anybody, you know what I mean? So, you know, if you're feeling depressed, or if you're feeling overwhelmed, you know, my mantra is, like, just get to the next day. You know, like, everyone has bad days, obviously. So, you know, it's just like, take a chill. It's okay to, like, take a step back and, like, breathe. And, like, sometimes you have to take a step back in order to take a step forward. So just always know that tomorrow will be different. And, you know, you'll go to sleep and wake up the next morning, and, you know, something will be different. So, like, I think it's very important. Mental health is very important. And, you know, don't be ashamed to, like, take that step back, or take that breath and take that time, and then know that, like, the next day will be better. So it's, like, literally how I live my life, because there's just been some dark days, and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to get through this. And then I'm like, Deb, just chill out. Like, just look for tomorrow. And the next day is always better. Or at least something changes where, like, you're like, okay, now I can see, like, a light at the end of the tunnel, you know? So yeah. And I actually started that. When I used to work at the Jerry Springer Show, that's, like, there was as you can imagine, some crazy days there. And that's how I kind of always just, like, I started that mental thinking back then when I worked on the show, because, like, we had some crazy stuff happen, and I was like, okay, Deb, you can get through this. Like, just breathe. And then, like, no, tomorrow is going to be different. And it always was. So I started that, implementing that early in my career.
So. He used to have, like, this thing, the end segment, that he would always say, and I forgot, he said, like, a certain word, like these specific words.
His final thought.
Yes.
Yeah, Jerry's final thought. Jerry's great. I love Jerry. I miss him. So may he rest in peace. Good guy.
What was that like, working with Jerry?
He was great. The show was crazy, but Jerry was fabulous. So I cannot say one bad thing about that man. He was great. He was good person, good guy, good, really, really talented TV host. Just a good person.
Yeah, because it's just funny. Like, some of the guests that you probably be seeing, like, where did they come from? I was like, how?
Yeah. But, I mean, they wrote into the show a lot. So
would you say there's similarities with reality TV and sports in ways of, like, the aspects? Do you feel like there's so much similarities of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, because there's a lot of similarities, and there's a lot of differences too. But I feel like the main thing is, it's all stories, and that's what I love to do, is be a storyteller. So that's why I love sports so much, because there's so many different stories, like, you know, the different, you know, all the different teams, and all the different, you know, rosters, and every second of every game is different. You know, there's injuries. So, like, there's just so many different storylines, and they're also so very exciting. And reality TV is all about stories as well. So in that regard, I feel like they're very similar. But the way the processes of how things are put together is different. Like, it's being in sports, like being in the truck, and like filming the games are way different than the way we film reality. So that's different. But I think in its core, everything's a story. And I'm a storyteller and I love to tell stories. So that's why I love to do both.
You be connecting with people when you tell stories, especially like just how the aspect of everyone's story is, and just hearing them, and it's like, whoa. And it's like you would never expect it, or then it's like, oh, they like literally teach you like life lessons that you would never expect or never thought, but it's like iron sharpens iron. So
yeah. Yep. Love it.
So my question for you is, and you still look fabulous as always. I just wanted to let you know.
Thank
that.
you. I'm a little sick. Still coughing. Had a bad upper respiratory infection, but we're getting better.
But you still look fabulous as always. I just had to let you know that.
Appreciate that.
So my question for you is, how would you describe your journey right now?
That's a good question. I would describe my journey as successful, but still always reaching for the top. You know what I mean? Like, and I always try to better myself. Like every single day, I try to be better, or be a better person, or just practice my craft as much as possible and just better myself. So even every week with the Blonde Blitz, every week I'm trying to do a better show, and just just be and have fun. I think that's the most important thing too, is like just have fun in your journey too. Like it's been a blast. Like being in sports has been so much fun. Because I think if you're not having fun, like why do it? You know what I mean? The amount of people I've met, yourself included, just I've been very, very, very blessed on this journey. And keep moving forward. It's that every day, every day push forward. So.
Oh, where am I? There it is. My little fan effects, because it feels so true. Because I love it. I love it. Especially like the importance, and I think this is a lost like gem. Like a lot of people forget that networking and connecting in sports, especially like if you're trying to figure out the best way for your next level, or it's so key, it's so important, because it's like you never know, like there's certain people that may have the connections that you're looking for, and they can give you like a great word and stuff. So
yep. Yeah, I think networking is very important. That's always when I do seminars, even in reality TV, and they give me like they're always asking like what advice I have for a younger generation, and I'm always like network. And you never know who someone is. Like talk to everybody, and because everybody has a story, and everyone's story is important. So talk to as many people as you can, and you just never know. You never know who knows people. And I just like people in general, so I talk to everybody anyway. So yeah, that's what. Yeah, network is my main advice to everyone out there.
ooh, yes, girl. Yes. Especially girl, especially going to your 6th Super Bowl that you're going to.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and I would never be where I'm at without so many people's help. Like I'm very, very blessed, and I try to help out as many people as I can too. If I'm in a position to help, I absolutely will. So yeah, it's fun. It's sports is super fun. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So reality's fun too. I've just done it for a really long time. So and I have great people around me there too. So
girl, you better let them know about it. You better let them know. So I always ask my guests this question, and Bonafide means authentic and unique. So I hope I said your last name right. What makes Deb Whitcas? Whitcas?
Whitcas, you're correct.
Whitcas? Oh, yeah. So what makes Deb Whitcas Bonafide, and what makes your story stands out?
I think I'm a little bit unusual, and I think sometimes people in sports don't exactly know where to put me because I do come from that reality, the reality realm and in programming. So I think I'm different in that regard. I think a lot of people go to college and do sports media, and I didn't. First of all, there wasn't a program for sports media there. Like we had a TV show that I helped with, and I was a campus reporter, and I covered the sports stuff there, but I wasn't able to actually concentrate. Got to get a concentration. So I got a BA in communications and theater. So I didn't actually go to school for sports, where I think a lot of people in sports have. So I think that's a little bit different, and a little bit I can stand out that way, because I have 2 Emmys from reality TV, from non-scripted. So I kind of bring that into the sports world. So I think that makes me stand out, and I think also just the passion I have. I have a lot of passion for just life. And I think that makes me stand out, and I never give up. Like, that's one thing everyone's like, some of my mentors, they're like, a lot of people would have already given up, and you just keep going, going, going. And that's just the way I live my life. And I think that's another piece of advice, is just keep going, because you'll get there, and I've kind of proved that a little bit. So I think that's the 2 things, like just my background. Like I come from a lifestyle background, so I don't come from the sports background. So I think my interviewing style is a little bit different, but I know my stuff too. So I'm able to ask the X and O questions, but I also care about what some of the players do off the field too, because I think that's, as a human, I think that's super important. So I have that, and then also just my passion, and I like just keep going. Like I wanted to do Blonde Blitz the other day, and I literally couldn't even lift my head up, and I had 102 fever, and I was trying everything to get on the air. I just couldn't do it. I lost my voice. But I had the rundown done. I had everyone, like, the show was ready to go, and if I hadn't lost my voice, I would have done it. But I always have that thing of like, the show must go on. But unfortunately, when you lose your voice, you just can't. But like, so yeah. But I think it's just that passion too.
Girl, ooh, I felt it. Yes, passion.
Yes,
felt it. Because I'm telling you, when you got that passion and you don't feel like you working a day on your life, you just have fun with it.
You love what you do. Yep. If you love what you do, you don't work. Ooh.
Girl, you still look fabulous, though.
Thank you. I'm like a lot of talking.
So can you let the viewers and the folks know how and where they can support you, and if you have any upcoming events happening for you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm on Instagram. It's at @SportReportDeb. You can follow me there. I'm also at the Blonde Blitz on IG, and I think TikTok. And then I think I'm the Blonde Blitz Pod on Twitter. And then That Sports Podcast Network, that's where the Blonde Blitz airs every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And we have a live show every single Wednesday. And yeah, that's basically where you guys can find me. Yeah, I'm literally just getting through the holidays. We've got some great shows coming up in January, and then we'll be involved with Super Bowl in February. So we're excited to bring you all of that, super, super great coverage. So just gearing up for that.
Yes. Yes, girl. Yes.
So, excuse me.
Girl, I told you still look fabulous. You still look fabulous. Thank you guys for tuning in to Bonafide Her Podcast, episode 99, featuring the one and only Deb Whitcas.
Guys, thank you.
Live replay of episode 99 after this. Thank you, Miss Deb, for sharing your story. You guys are so appreciated.